Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new video we're doing this time around called PCJ at the Movies, because I'm just now walking out, or actually I'm sitting outside in the parking lot in front of the movie theater. I just watched Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. So I'm going to talk about the movie. I literally got up out of my seat, walked out, came into the car here, and I haven't had a chance to fully process everything I just witnessed, everything I saw. And so I'm just going to be spewing stuff out, my thoughts, opinions, and sharing with you the story somewhat. So I'm going to save spoilers for the end here. I don't want to spoil anything. So if you want to see the movie and you haven't seen it yet, obviously it just, came out now. I saw the very first screening that you could see on Thursday. What's today? The 20th or 19th? Yeah, December 19th. So I don't want this to go too long because this was a very long movie. It was about 2 hours and 40 minutes. I think it was about 2 hours and 40 minutes with the trailers, and there was a bunch of trailers. So let's start first there. There was about 8 trailers, I think, which is long. Usually you get about 4 or 5, and I know this is a big blockbuster movie, of course. I don't really, what was it? Was there anything new I saw? There was the Free Guy, which is the new Ryan Reynolds movie. I haven't seen that on online yet. They had a lot of trailers that you've already seen online and such, like the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer. They had the Mulan trailer. Yeah, I'm forgetting a few, but there's some new Pixar Disney one that I've seen online already as well. I don't remember the name right now. It's got little blue, purple creature characters. You probably know what I'm talking about. So let's get to the actual reason why you're here, and that's to talk about The Rise of Skywalker. So I was going in with medium expectations, not good, not low completely, because I thought, I never went to the original trilogy in 77, 80, and 83 because I wasn't alive I wasn't alive for the first movie. I was born a couple years later, and then I was just a baby during the first two, the second and third. But when I was mature and grown up, the prequels came out in the late 90s and early 2000s, and I was able to go see those. And let me share something real quick. I'm going to jump around a little bit. I know it's going to be a little confusing here. So it's just kind of sad, but you got to change with the times, I know. But to me, it was a little disappointing. I came here to the theater. I reserved my ticket online. Okay, nowadays you can just buy a ticket online. You can even reserve seats at some theaters. Some theaters do that. So there was no need for me to stand in line ahead of time weeks ago to get my tickets, which is something I had to do for episode 2 and 3. I had to come up to the theater, stand in line on the day they went on sale, buy the tickets, and then like 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, we came up to the theater to see it. And whenever I would come up to the theater to see it, actually, was the midnight showings. We always did midnight showings on Thursday nights, and me, whoever I'm with, group of friends, we'd get together, and we'd come up to the theater probably around 9, 10 o'clock, and stand in line. There'd be people already in line, probably hours and hours ahead of me, but I was never the one that wanted to stand in line more than a few hours. And then you still had to fight for a seat and whatnot. You get up to the theater here. Like I said, I bought my ticket online, so I had an app on my phone that they scanned for my ticket. Sucks, you don't even have a physical ticket to hold on to anymore, to look back on and be like, look, here's my proof. If I want to show proof, I got to print this photo I took of my ticket. So then I get up to the theater. The lobby is pretty much empty. There's no major advertising, like giant cardboard displays, banners, posters. Nobody's giving away stuff like, they've given out little trinkets or trading card packs or toys or something like that for big movies. And the biggest disappointment of all, there was not a single person dressed up at all. And this is not a rinky-dink small little theater. This was a big megaplex theater I went to with the nice big giant home theater plush seats, reclining seats and everything. And not one person dressed up as a Jedi, Sith, nothing. There's no cosplay anymore. And I'm somebody who worked at a movie theater when episode 1 came out in '99, and the lobby was filled with people. I mean, the people I worked with were asking permission from the managers to be able to at least wear like replica lightsabers on their pants as they're working as an usher. So it's just a sad realization of where we are now, when it comes, I mean, yeah, we've got conventions now that people do all that stuff, but to me it's kind of a sad thing to see go away. All right, let's get to the actual movie. I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed it way better than I did Last Jedi, and I shared my thoughts and opinions on Last Jedi a couple years ago, and I've never backed from whatever I've said. The movie was not good. The story was not good. A couple of the characters needed to be either not included at all or killed off quickly. The story in this one was good. They hit you right from the very start. It's almost as if they had too much to waste time, and that was good. You kept a very fast pace. There wasn't really much moments that lagged. The only thing I found irritating is really I guess it's kind of a change in how it's hard not to compare the original trilogy, the prequels, and then compare this trilogy here. But I know it's 2019, things are different, times change over the years, etc. But it just seemed like the trilogy, especially this one right here, heavily relied on a lot of zingers and one-liners, and I never got that from George Lucas' original trilogy. I don't really recall very many of those in the prequels even, and it just seemed like they wanted to go for like quick-witted humor without being a quick-witted humor person or having that kind of personality. It just didn't make sense to me. I don't know. So we get a lot of that in the movie. Definitely see a lot of that happen. And on top of that, you have a lot of characters that we don't really know a lot about, because unfortunately, you look back at the original prequel. Okay, I'm going to compare a lot here. So the original trilogy, we meet Han, Luke, Leia, Chewie, 3PO, R2, etc. And then in Empire, we learn more about these characters. And then by the time we get to Jedi, we are in with the characters. We want them all to succeed because of these reasons that we've gotten to know the characters. Because of the dumpster fire that Last Jedi was, we did not get to bond with any of the characters that you think you should bond with by the time you get to this movie. So that was my biggest disappointment for this trilogy as a whole. Visually, this movie looks freaking amazing. The special effects were amazing. The ships look awesome. The scenes, the different locations. I mean, sure, this is going to be a lot of blue screen stuff, but the different locations they take us to, as far as different planets and systems, those look amazing. I was really impressed, and we get a good variety of locations. It almost felt like Rogue One first, because we went to so many different locations in the movie, in the story here. And if you're worried, I'll say this real quick, spoiler alert, in case this is a spoiler, not really. If you're worried about seeing any of the teaser stuff that they showed you on Twitter, Facebook, online and whatnot, and then you're thinking, oh wow, they just spoiled stuff by throwing this out there. No, they didn't. I was watching the movie, and so many moments that I've seen, whether it would be on Twitter, they dropped some stuff, Disney dropped a little scene with Kylo Ren showing up to confront spoiler alert, we know, Palpatine. There was another one on, I saw like Jimmy Kimmel had the cast on, and they did they showed a clip of the movie where Poe and Finn and Rey get off of a ship that looks like they're in a loading bay or docking bay, and they confront a bunch of stormtroopers and whatnot, and that was pretty cool. I thought that was interesting. But again, that was not a big spoiler or anything, because so much more happened than what they drop us with the teasers and few clips that they showed us. So that was definitely not a spoiler thing to worry about. Okay, so character-wise, we learn a lot about Rey in this movie. We learn a lot. We do get some added answers that we've been wanting to hear, so that's good. We learn a little bit more about Kylo Ren. We learn more about him. Okay, so we talked about the story. That I said I liked it. I'm trying not to spoil anything right now, but I liked the story. I thought it was interesting, and I think what they kind of did was they took a look at all the issues people had with Last Jedi and tried to right all the wrongs that one did. And I just thought it was weird to have J.J. Abrams direct the first one, bring in somebody else to do the second one, and then I want to know, was he originally going to come back anyways to do the third one, J.J.? Because, I mean, really, it's like everything that J.J. set up in The Force Awakens, Rian Johnson was like, you know what, let's burn this, throw this out, eliminate this, let's kill off that. And then J.J. had to kind of go back and, try to piece together everything that Rian broke. So, what else can we talk about? We talked about characters, locations. Yeah, I think we're just going to go right into spoilers because I don't want this video to go too much longer. So, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the movie, if you haven't seen Rise of Skywalker, stop. Don't get mad. Don't leave me comments below for spoiling it. I'm telling you right now, spoiler alert. Okay? So, 3, 2, 1. The opening scroll for the Rise of Skywalker was pretty freaking cool. They start off right away saying, "The dead speak." And that was pretty funny. I liked it. It really stood out. It reminded me of what inspired George Lucas, which was the old Flash Gordon serials where you see a scroll to catch up the audience that maybe didn't see last week's show at the theater. So it was cool. I liked it. I thought it stood out really well. And right at the very beginning, we get all that teaser stuff with Kylo confronting Emperor Palpatine, who is now alive somehow. And we learn, basically, if you have seen all the other Star Wars films, now you know, oh, okay, Palpatine, he knew how to bring himself back to life. He knew how to prevent people from dying or to cure people from dying. So could he have actually saved Padme if Anakin, hadn't, broken her heart and she died of a broken heart? Probably, but he wouldn't want to do that, of course, because he wants Vader to be his slave. Basically, he used him to be his next apprentice. So I did not care for, of course, anything to do with Finn. I don't think Finn was needed anywhere at all past getting sliced in half during The Force Awakens in the woods. I think he should have been killed off there. He redeemed himself by turning around and not being a stormtrooper and, helping out with the Resistance. And that was that. To me, Last Jedi and this movie as well, he's just there to scream every once in a while whenever they blow up something, and he yells, "Woo!" or "Wow! Yeah!" And that's about it. That's the only contribution I see from that character. Everything else, it was like, we got to figure out a way to keep this person in the script, in the story, in the picture with the other two. But to me, Poe had a much better character, much better use of his character during the entire plot, and Rey had her own story. So I would have been fine with just seeing Rey and Poe doing their own thing, which we see them do, and then not have to see Finn just playing sidekick but wanting to be the main guy or whatever. Yeah, it just doesn't work. The character never worked for me. So, big spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it, again, I'm talking about spoilers. So, the things I wanted to see in this movie were, I wanted to see Finn killed off. I didn't get that. I wanted to see either Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon Jinn make an appearance. We didn't get that. We did get, however, Luke Skywalker reappears as a Force ghost, so that was cool. We did see Princess Leia training to be a Jedi. That was interesting, and they used some good CGI to, they had to use younger versions of Luke and Leia, but it shows Luke training Leia, and we learned that Leia had a lightsaber. And during her training at the end, we're told in the movie that she had a vision of her son, Ben, and what would happen. So that's why she stopped her training, and she didn't want to chance anything happening with Ben, even though we know that Palpatine, we learn, has been manipulating everything from the beginning. He manipulated Anakin and then he manipulated Kylo Ren, or Ben Solo, into becoming Kylo Ren. And that's where we learned that Palpatine is really just trying to, again, to find somebody else to, make the Sith powerful again. The use of Palpatine I really liked. I liked how they had him at the beginning. It's almost like it's like a scene out of a 1930s monster film. It was really good effects, the look of him and everything. Ian McDiarmid is amazing as that character, so I loved it. The ending to me, though, was very anticlimactic, or almost predictable. You see, of course, a gigantic fleet of Star Destroyers in the trailer. You see that. And then in the trailer, we even see the giant onslaught of rebel ships that show up to confront these. So they kind of did spoil something in the trailers, because that happens in the movie towards the end during the big finale battle. And of course, it's a Star Wars movie. You're going to get the big giant battle. But at the very end, where you are expecting a lightsaber fight, we got that somewhere towards the middle of the movie between Rey and Kylo. And apparently we learn as well during this that Rey has learned how to heal people with her Force abilities. So there's something else that we haven't actually seen before in the Star Wars films. We've heard of it. It's been in other things, but we haven't seen it in a movie. So that was something else that we learned. That Rey, because she, when they're on the desert planet trying to find a Sith way device, it's something that helps them find where Palpatine is so she can confront him. And on the desert planet they're on, they sink into this underground area, and they come upon a dagger, and they come upon a giant serpent beast, and the beast is injured, and Rey fixes him, fixes the serpent, and heals him. So that's where we first see that. And then that comes into play later on during the battle against Kylo Ren on the floating remains of the original the Death Star from Return of the Jedi. That was the other thing. Just like in The Force Awakens, that we did not get in Last Jedi, in this movie, we get a lot of Easter egg moments or callbacks or little snippets for pretty much anyone that ever saw any Star Wars movie. At one point or another, you're going to be like, oh, I remember that. Oh, look at that. We got scenes. We had a scene of Coruscant, the giant city planet from Phantom Menace and all the original prequels, whatever. We also had Endor. We got to see Ewoks. We saw Ewoks. Wicket was there. Where else? We went back to Jakku, and we saw, if you remember the scene at the very beginning of Force Awakens, where Rey is driving her speeder across the desert, and you see a Star Destroyer that's been crashed there for probably since the battle at Return of the Jedi. We go back to that exact same image, and we see another Star Destroyer falling to the ground, and I must, people on the Jakku are looking up, probably going like, again, another. So yeah, overall, I would say I did enjoy the movie. I liked it better than Last Jedi, and that's not saying a lot because I hated Last Jedi. I thought that was just complete garbage. I wish that this was actually the second movie, and or they took this movie and split it and made it, half of it was what The Last Jedi could have been, and then the other half was, the final. But it is what it is. I know there's people out there that have said, oh, we want to remake The Last Jedi or cancel it or whatever. It's done. We can't do it. Can't go back. All right, whatever. So, what else have I missed anything? Let's see. We talked about the characters. We talked about Emperor Palpatine. We talked about Princess Leia having a lightsaber, training to be a Jedi, and then, of course, she didn't. Oh, that's right. Big spoiler alert. After Rey and Kylo Ren have their confrontation on the remains of the Death Star, Rey does stab Kylo Ren, and then she heals him, and that's when he realizes, he comes to, basically. It's almost like she had to give him a hard slap in the face, but instead she just stabs him in the gut with her lightsaber, and then she heals him, and then all of a sudden I'm okay. He's not completely going back to good. He's just, still in that gray area, I guess. Not gray Jedi, but whatever. After Rey takes off, then we see, or first we hear, "Hey kid," from behind, and he turns around and we see Han Solo. So Han Solo makes an appearance. And that's where Kylo learns, like, hey, I know what I have to do. I'm just not sure if I'm strong enough. Similar to what he said in Force Awakens, but now he's saying it for another reason. But this appearance of Han Solo is actually just a memory that Ben is having at the moment. Now, I'm going out of order here. So before Rey stabs Kylo, she gets a little assistance from General Leia, because Leia is still on the planet where they're trying to figure out what to do, plan their attack. And Leia has I guess a vision, and she realizes there's something she has to do, that it's the only way that will make things, happen the way they need it to. So Leia goes off and lays down on a bed, and she uses her force power to contact her son during the fight. And that distracts Kylo, enabling Rey to stab him. So doing this causes Leia to pass away, and she later becomes one with the Force, because we later see Leia as a Force ghost. I did like the moment where Rey is laying on the ground after Palpatine had thrown Kylo Ren off of the rock area there, and then Rey is just looking up to the stars, and we hear multiple voices in the background of different Jedi. I heard Obi-Wan, Luke, Yoda. I believe I heard Mace Windu. I'm sure there's others, but I don't remember. Everything happens kind of fast. But it was kind of nice that they did that. I was hoping to see Jedi more than just hear their voices, but at least we got to hear that. That was nice. But they were all saying, Rey, you have to do this. The Force is in you, etc. So that was kind of cool. Okay, so last but not least, let's talk about the ending of the movie. So the Resistance shoots down all the destroyers, and Palpatine is destroyed by Rey because she uses 2 lightsabers to retract his Force lightning and melt his body like House of Wax just melts, destroys. Looks like, The Last Crusade of Indiana Jones movie. So they go back to the planet, they all celebrate, and everyone hugs and kisses. They even had 2 women kissing. I don't know how they were, okay. So anyways, we have that moment. And then it fades to black, and you think the credits are going to hit. But no. Rey then takes the Millennium Falcon, and she goes to Tatooine. She goes to Luke's old house, and it's abandoned, of course, because no one's been there forever. And she goes over to the sand outside of the hut, and she takes Luke and Leia's lightsabers and buries them in the sand. And then she stands up and sees somebody walking around, just a drifter, a woman, and she goes, nobody's been around here forever. And she asks her, who are you? She goes, I'm Rey. She's like, Rey who? And then Rey looks over and sees Luke and Leia as Force ghosts, and then she tells the woman, I'm Rey Skywalker. And then she goes over to stand in front of the 2 moons of Tatooine, with BB-8 standing in front of another moon. And then that's it. That's the wrap. That's the ending of the movie there. So that means the Jedi are completely gone. But no, because before that, Rey had a lightsaber of her own that she showed off, and it had a yellow beam. It was a yellow saber. So we still will have Jedi. We still will have the Force and everything happening. So where do we go from here? Are we ever going to see this character anything else? I don't know. But that's the end of the movie there. So I think, they did whatever they could do to bring as much of the audience back that was so put off from Last Jedi. And they did an okay job. I will give them a good effort. This is not by any means the greatest Star Wars, no. I still say Empire Strikes Back is the greatest one ever. Close behind would be Rogue One, if you want to look at more recent ones. But yeah, I really did enjoy this movie. I thought it was fun. It's something that everyone should watch. If you saw The Force Awakens and then you didn't like Last Jedi like me, you should give it a try. I'm just sitting out here in the parking lot 20 minutes after the movie. Wanted to share with you guys my thoughts, my opinions. Spoilers, of course, so hopefully you heard me say spoilers many times before you listen to the rest of the show. But if you happen to go see it today, or if you happen to see it later on, come on back and leave me comments. Let me know your thoughts. Did you enjoy it? Let's keep the comment section spoiler free, but let me know if you enjoyed the movie, and share your thoughts. If you want to message me directly and share your thoughts, do that as well. Well, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it if you go watch it. Talk to y'all later. This is PCJ. I've been at the movies, and I'm heading home. Talk to you later.